All right, here we go. Finals. Bruno, Arceus, Inteleon up against Toddy with the Mew. Got to switch up on the camera angle here. They still have the prize cam, though, it looks like. So we still have access to the prize cam. We just don't have access to the overhead angle for the camera, unfortunately. I don't know why they had to switch it up. Looks like nothing important prize on either side. The second Meloetta could become a big deal later in the game if the first one gets knocked out. And it looks like Ricardo is going first. Pretty bad starter in the Dunsparce there from Bruno. You just don't want that in play in this matchup in general. It's actually not like bad, but you know Ricardo's gonna like go boss KO your Arceus next turn probably. So having a Dunsparce in play basically means it's just kind of in play. You can net it out of play if you really need the bench space. It'll probably just sit in play and take up a bench space for the rest of the game, which isn't that big of a deal for Arceus and Inteleon, to be honest, overall, because like you can generally play with like a 3-4 bench anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, to be honest, but it's just kind of big chill in there. It can become like a weird target for Psychic Leap later on, though, where you can go like one tablet Psychic Leap it with a DTE on a Mew. So that can come up because like with Sables, you can protect them by evolving them to Drizzile, so they need double tablet for the Drizzile. So, and the hand actually for Ricardo, I think, does Ricardo just have Boss Tablet Mew VMAX DTE? What? He's literally just has everything. And then we'll see the Quick Ball away of the Cramomatic. To be honest, though, I don't know if I like that play from Ricardo. Ricardo could have just held the hand and held the Cram, gone attached DTE active pass. I don't like this play from Ricardo. I think Ricardo could have played this slower and just hold the Cram as an answer to Path to the Peak. Because I don't even think Ricardo can draw cards out of this hand, because it's Boss, DTE. You can draw one card with this Genesect. So I think it would have been better for Ricardo if Ricardo just held the hand. Like, you literally have the knockout, and then you have Cram to potentially get her out of Path to the Peak if they get the turn one Path to the Peak. But yeah, you can draw one card here as Ricardo, unless you want to burn a tablet, but there's no reason to burn a tablet when your hand is that clean. Like, this hand is so cleanly right now. Like, there's no reason to do anything. You drawing one. Yeah, I would have just held the hand. I think that's a mistake there from Ricardo. You should just hold the Cram as a Cram. Unless it's the nuts. Is it Battle VIP Pass? No. See, it's just another VMAX. What would you rather have? A Cramomatic or just like a random card? I want that Cramomatic, you know what I'm saying? With a target for the Cramomatic. See, now it's just a pass. So definitely I think a mistake there from Ricardo. Like, just trying to do as much as possible for no reason. You don't always have to do. Sometimes the options for next turn is greater than doing a little bit more this turn. So you have to like make the judgment call there on like, I could do more this turn, or I could have more options guaranteed next turn. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the more options is just better. And also, when you play it like that, Bruno's definitely not going to want to Marnie you there. So if Bruno has the option, they see you go attach active 2 Genesect, no draw pass, Bruno either is like, well, they either have the nuts or their hand freaking sucks. And Mew always has the nuts, so there's no reason to play like Mew has the nuts, because they literally always have the nuts. So just play like their hand sucks, you know? Because if you can ever catch the Mew with their hand lacking, that's when you want to like be aggressive about their hand sucking. What a draw here from Bruno, though. I mean, they probably had some of it in the hand, but that is absurd. 2 Arceus with a water energy each on the turn. Top deck Boss from Ricardo. Not going to offer a whole ton this turn, but you will get that KO on one of the Arceus. You definitely go for it. This just feels kind of... That's a bad top deck. It's just not a great top deck there for Ricardo here. But Genesect for 2 now. Get some more drawing going. But could have had like a quick ball away that Mew VMAX, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's a pretty good draw there, though. We could see the Meloetta come down, and we could actually even see this Ultra Ball be played here, and I think I like to see the Ultra Ball be played here. I think you want to play for the Quad Fusion Strike energy on the following turn. Oh, they're going to settle for a draw for 2, though. I don't know how many... The thing is, though, I don't know how many Mew VMAX Ricardo plays. It's very possible Ricardo only plays... Actually, you could put a Fusion Strike energy on the active Mew here and protect the Fusion Strike energy. Actually, I like that play. That protects the Fusion Strike energy. So I put the Fusion Strike... So if you attach it to the bench here, this opens up a play where Bruno can now boss KO Meloetta, because Quad Fusion Strike energy is such a threat to Bruno that you really need to try and remove that option as a play, as an option from your opponent. Also, if Ricardo doesn't... Oh, Ricardo can draw one more with 1 Genesect here. I think Ricardo is now debating the Ultra Ball play, but if you're going to do it now, you should have done it initially, right? See, now Ricardo's doing it, but why didn't you just do this at the beginning of your turn, right? Or so Ricardo's like, okay, do I have a Mew VMAX prize? So Ricardo definitely plays 3 Mew VMAX. But I think right here, Ricardo didn't check their prize card, so they're debating not getting rid of this Mew VMAX. And they don't get rid of the Mew VMAX. And I can't see if it's... I think it isn't prize. We saw the prize card, so I'm pretty sure the Mew VMAX isn't prize. So that's why you check your prize cards, because right there, it's way better to get rid of the Mew VMAX if you have the 3rd one. And I'm pretty sure, because Ricardo was even debating one over the other, that Ricardo plays through Mew VMAX. And it could be prize. I actually don't know. So that's definitely just a mistake there from Ricardo. You definitely... And I think it's always best to play like it's not prize when it's not. That power tablet is so much more valuable than that Mew VMAX if you don't have one prize. You're also going to be drawing 2 prize cards this turn. So like the chance you get it before you need it is pretty high as well. And there it is. But now Ricardo played the Ultra Ball like 2 turns late, right? Ricardo played the Ultra Ball like 2 turns late. or not, two Genesects late. So Ricardo could have played that Ultra Ball at the beginning of the turn for the exact same effect that Ricardo played it at the end of the turn. And at the beginning of the turn, it was a fine card to use in that situation. So I think a mistake there from Ricardo, not just the Ultra Ball immediately. Also, the Fusion Strike energy, I think, should be on the Mew VMAX. Because right now, Bruno, I'm going to go ahead and guess that Bruno's going to boss KO the Meloetta here. Because I don't know if Bruno can risk running into a Quad Fusion Strike energy right now. Bruno's in like a really bad spot if they run into a Quad Fusion Strike energy here. So I almost feel like, oh, it's the Marnie though. Okay, so they could rock into a Quad Fusion Strike energy if there's unprized. And Toddy had no Sparkle, no Fusion Strike energy in hand. So this is like a clean 4 that could have all of that. But the number one card that Toddy needs here is a Stadium for sure. Because you know Bruno's about to grab that Stadium. About to grab that Path to the Peak. Bruno's going for that Path to the Peak this turn for sure. So, but Bruno, I mean, Ricardo could have seen so many more cards this turn if they had just committed the Ultra Ball initially. And I'm actually not sure on the boss play versus this play for Bruno, to be honest. I don't hate this play from Bruno. Because committing the boss for turn means you just do so much less on your turn. If you commit to boss KO Meloetta on your turn, you do so much less on your turn. And you know Ricardo had kind of a chance to interact with their turn. So you know there's a really high chance that there's a Stadium in Ricardo's current hand. So I don't hate the, like, this actually could be the better play where you're just like, well, I hope you don't get the Fusion Strike stuff. I'm going to go get Path to the Peak and punch you. And I hope you don't have a Stadium. Let's see how that goes. So, like, I don't hate this play from Bruno at all. I like the idea of, like, boss KO and Meloetta because you take away the Fusion Strike energy for sure. But you never know if they have one prize or they just can't find the 4 on the next turn anyways, right? So it's not that big of a deal. So like I don't think it's not that big of a deal to like not play it out like this, like Bruno's doing. I think the way Bruno's playing is also just fine. I just have the idea of like wanting to get that Fusion Strike energy out of play because it's kind of annoying to have it in there. There's that second Arceus, and I'm sure we'll see, like I said, I'm sure we'll see Path DTE coming down here. And ideally a Big Charm. Bruno definitely wants a Big Charm, make it a little bit harder to get a knockout potentially. Like maybe they got the Quad Fusion Strike energy. Or they got the switch up. What the heck? All right. They got the Big Charm as well. So now, yeah, even if they get the Quad Fusion Strike energy, they do need a modifier. Or even without the Quad Fusion Strike energy, you'll need an extra modifier as well. End up committing it to the active, though. You could have put it on the bench Arceus. So this does open up a play for Ricardo to actually go boss KO the Arceus on the bench. And then deal with this last Arceus at a later turn. So boss KO the Arceus on the bench is actually pretty good here from Ricardo. Depends on what if they top deck a Stadium. Like to give any kind of options, they need to top deck a Stadium. They have the Escape Rope though and the Choice Belt, so if they play the Escape Rope, they can actually KO anything off of Bruno's bench though and at least get a prize card for the turn. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes from here. Still a lot of game left to be played. That's a Rotom Phone. Okay, so Escape Rope into Rotom Phone is not terrible for Ricardo here. Play the Escape Rope, force up something off the bench, get a knockout guaranteed with the Escape Rope, and then play the Rotom Phone. Hopefully you push a Stadium or a Cramomatic to the top. I just don't like not being able to see their hands, but I guess we can see Ricardo's hand pretty good. We just can't see Bruno's hand at all. I don't think you need to commit Ultra Ball here. You have a Mew in hand, and you know they're taking a knockout next turn. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't think I like this Ultra Ball. Oh my gosh, they got rid of the Choice Build. You definitely just play Escape Rope first there as Ricardo. Like, the first thing you do in that hand is you play Escape Rope because you give your opponent 0 information. Now, Bruno has some information. They just got rid of a Choice Belt. They got rid of a Mew V. They're getting this Mew V Max. And now when Ricardo plays this Escape Rope, your opponent has more information to work with. So definitely a mistake here from Ricardo not just to play Escape Rope first. Unless Ricardo's just not going to play the Escape Rope, but that doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. And now if Bruno's just like, you know what? You don't have another modifier in your hand. I'm going to send out my Arceus and you don't have a Stadium. Then you're just like, because now, wait, does he have a 2-card hand now? No, 3-card hand, because there's the Rotom Phone as well. Now the Escape Rope comes down, but you give your opponent information for like no reason. All right, there's the Dunsparce send up. I mean, Bruno could have been just like, all right, you don't have it. And then sends up the Arceus, and then it gets that much worse for Ricardo potentially. There's a phone. Ricardo's prize cards are off to the side on the, they have a little prize cam thing set up. All right, is there a Stadium in that top 5 or a Cramomatic? The problem, though, is you... all right, so this is another misplay with Ricardo's play. There's no item card in Ricardo's hand to combo with Cramomatic. So if there's a Cramomatic in those top 5, you don't have an item card to combo with it because the one card in your hand is a Mew VMAX. So definitely a bunch of mistakes here from Ricardo on this turn. I'm not gonna lie. There's a bunch of mistakes here from Ricardo here. Very poor sequencing into limiting their outs off the Rotom Phone. Like, that is just a Mew VMAX. I think you have to retreat here and take the prize card as Ricardo now. Like, you have to. Like, I don't know what the top deck is, but I think you just got to go for it. Like, you still have the threat of the Quad Fusion Strike energy and popping off, so it might entice Bruno to go chase the Meloetta. I don't think it'll probably end up going that way. Like, I think Bruno will probably just KO the Mew VMAX, but You still have that potential to pop off next turn if you get a good prize card. You have a good top deck in a stadium. Then all of a sudden that Meloetta is one-hit KOing an Arceus next turn, and then you're just a boss away on a one prize draw on the bench to close out the game. It is possible for Bruno to scoop up net those 2 cards and play probably, though. I mean, you could evolve this Mew to a VMAX if you want, but... going down... I don't know. You already gave too much info to Bruno. Like, Bruno knows your hand is just a Mew VMAX. Like, that's so much info to give to your opponent as well. Like, it's not good. Technoblast. Should have used Melodious Echo, though, right? Oh, no. You would have been 10 damage short. All right, so nothing super ridiculous in the prize cards once again. I don't know what they got off the prize card there. But yeah, Ricardo definitely limited themselves quite a bit on this turn. All right, looks like research from Bruno. I mean, it seems like Bruno definitely has experience in this matchup and has an idea of how they want to play it. Like, not too aggressive, just like do the whole path thing, make big Arceus, and like be like, all right, I'm giving you outs to your Fusion Strike plays, but I don't think you're gonna ever have it. So, there is a fear of like that boss on the Meloetta, like I said on the previous turn, but maybe it's just not a huge fear. I mean, maybe Toddy just knows Bruno's not gonna go for it. Starts up the Inteleon with that DTE. The Drizzile's out. Big charms on both. Arceus. Quad Fusion Strike energy. There's still potential for the Quad Fusion Strike energy, though. That is still something that can happen here for Ricardo. Looks like a boss off the Drizzile. Great option to have on the next turn. Maybe we'll see Bruno chase the Meloetta next turn if Ricardo's not able to utilize it. Just take away the option of the Quad Fusion Strike energy. Because right now, Ricardo, if Ricardo gets Quad Fusion Strike energy this turn or next turn, it's possible for Ricardo to make a comeback here, I guess. But the prize cards are so... If Bruno draws a prize card next turn, you got to make the Quad Fusion Strike energy happen this turn, I feel like, as Ricardo. You need it this turn. Top deck is a Fusion Strike energy. I believe the other card in hand is a Rotom Phone alongside the Mew VMAX. Yeah, Rotom Phone, Mew, Fusion Strike energy. Not good. Here's a Rhodey. An Escape Rope. They were really fast with that one. I'm going to go ahead and make a guess that that card that Ricardo just took was a Stadium card. How do you win this game as Ricardo anymore? I think Bruno... Well, the one thing is, Bruno maybe only plays 2 boss. I think you have that going for you here, potentially, as Ricardo. If you run to a Genesect here... and they boss, they might be out of boss from there on out, which you can make up some, you can make some weird like Psychic Leap plays actually, because you saved that third Mew VMAX maybe. If that third Mew VMAX is left, actually it might not be left. Oh, we're just gonna see Ricardo hit actually. I don't like this play because now you just lose to Bruno having boss on a Genesect and winning, I think, right? Yeah, now Bruno just goes KO your Meloetta, boss KO your Genesect. I think as Ricardo there, actually, do you even have a play? Maybe you don't even have a play anyways. You can't run to a Genesect, can you? Maybe you evolve to Mew. Maybe as Ricardo, your play there is to evolve to Mew VMAX and then hope Bruno bosses around it to KO your Meloetta, runs out of boss, and then you can hit with Mew VMAX and then Psychic Leap from there, but I don't think it matters. Yeah, I don't think it matters. At this point, it's a little bit too far gone, I think. I'm trying to come up with like routes that Ricardo could have taken last turn besides this, but this feels like the worst. This feels like the worst route. I think you have to hope Bruno just whiffed a KO somehow. I don't know what you had to do that, but I think you had to hope that Bruno whiffed a knockout. I don't know what you had to do to like set that up, but or force them to use a boss to get a KO. So I think evolving to Mew VMAX and passing, maybe even attach active is probably the better play. Because even if Bruno hits into your Mew VMAX next turn, you could top deck and Psychic Leap. Yeah, because then you could top deck and Psychic Leap. So I think it's definitely a mistake there from Ricardo. You just leave the Mew VMAX in the active, force the boss if they want a knockout, and if they don't go for a knockout, you can, because I think your top deck in Stadium here is a Ricardo. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that because they were super fast with okay, and it is the Stadium. So this turn, if Ricardo's Mew VMAX had been hit, Ricardo could have gone boss up a Sobble, Psychic Leap. remove the damage off the Mew VMAX if they had hit it. If they had bossed around the Mew VMAX, then you can hit with Mew VMAX for the turn. So I definitely think it's a mistake there from Ricardo. Quick ball's away a quick ball. I think there's an ultra ball left in the hand. Actually, not sure. It might be an escape rope. Yeah, Bruno could have attacked with the Inteleon there, but Ricardo's on 3 prize cards, so you don't want to attack with a 1 prize Pokemon here. You want to make them work as hard as possible to get their KOs. Which would be like attacking into the Arceus. But Bruno should have this one all wrapped up with a boss next turn, I think. I'm pretty sure we're just going to see Bruno go boss, win the game next turn. We'll see. I think that's what we're going to see, though. Genesect number 2 for 3. And there's an Ultra Ball in hand. Or Genesect number 2 for 4, my bad. All these little things Mew isn't as easy as people think. No, Mew is definitely the hardest deck to play in the game. Besides maybe like the Urshifu Moltres deck or Sanders deck. But because who knows how hard those decks actually are, we'll just call Mew the hardest deck that people actually play in the game. It's just that Mew being played at 50% efficiency can still just like body so many decks. Ricardo knows Bruno has energy. Arceus V-Star and an energy. No, the V-Star power has been used. What do you mean? Does he know there's a boss in the hand? This is the finals. Dark. Becomes a scam. Suicune? No, Suicune's not that hard to play. Suicune's kind of like there's like not like Suicune you'll see like the same sequences very often. So Suicune's kind of like Suicune's more flowcharty than Mew. I guess that's the best way to put it. Suicune's still pretty hard to play to like learn how to like master the flowchart, I guess, but Mew is not very flowcharty. There's so many situations of interactions that can come up every single game to try and decipher and figure out the correct way to play it. It's like hard. So get rid of the Ultra Ball here with the cram instead of cramming away the Ultra Ball away the Elsa Sparkle and stuff. I mean, I don't know how many Genesects actually are left here for Ricardo. Not a lot. I think it's going to be a punch into a boss and the game will be over here in just a second. He grabbed the boss off the Drizzile. Oh, you might be right there. You might be right there, Halsall. Yeah, you might be correct on that. Okay. Although it is fair for Ricardo to play out as many actions as possible, to be honest, because this is once again, like, if they have a ridiculously long game too, it'd have to be ridiculous. The less time there is, it does favor Ricardo, so. Ricardo does want there to be less time on the clock because they have 75 minutes. So if this is a ridiculously long game too, for whatever reason, Ricardo's like, all right, I'm fine with that. So much harder to win with Eternatus. That is true. It is harder to win with Eternatus than Mew. I wish we wouldn't do this kind of shuffle. I think a lot of people just have the habit. Like, it's just like a thing. Like, a lot of people learned it early on before they knew it was irrelevant. So now a lot of people just do it. I think we're getting to the point where people are like, people actually know that it doesn't do anything. And people are actively saying it's just like a waste of time to pile shuffle. And once again, that's not an opinion. I know some people like to discuss that. It's not an opinion. Pile shuffling is literally a waste of time. Except to count your cards. It's nice to kind of get in rhythm and count your cards. But it doesn't actually make your deck random. I'm not gonna say more random because that sounds stupid, but it doesn't make your deck random. So, and once again, that's not an opinion. It's just like fact. Like, that's just how it works. It's like you don't get it's not like a choice, you know. It's one of those things where you don't get a choice. You want a choice, but you don't get a choice. All right, Mew V start here for Ricardo. Let's peep those prize cards. 1 tablet. The escape rope. 1 Mew V Max. That's fine. So optimal to prize a Mew V Max. Bruno's really getting in there, bro. The big charm is prized for Bruno, but they do play 2. But even prize, you want both. Like, you do want both big charms. Oh no, bro! I cursed him with 4 Pokemon search cards as well, and both big charms. Okay, that's actually pretty rough prize cards for Bruno. Just a double big charm, to be honest. That can open up a ton of plays for Ricardo to just like take prizes where they shouldn't be able to get them as easily. You want to force like those extra tablets and the choice bells or whatever. You just want to force your Mew to have as much as possible every single turn. That's kind of like the name of the game, especially for this matchup for Bruno. Bruno's like the way that Bruno's deck work is just like, I just want you to have as much as possible every single turn. And you kind of just like force him to have that as often as possible. Power shuffling is the way to go in Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. No, there's no. I think you have to be trolling. I Am Legend. I think you're trolling. You might not be, and if you're not, then you just don't know. But no, there's no game where pile shuffling is more optimal, unless you're actually trying to cheat. Unless you're actually trying to cheat. All right, here we go. Genesect, Ultra Ball for Genesect. Discarded a Mew VMAX though, off the rip. That's usually correct, and I don't blame Ricardo for doing that, but they might need to find that other one off the prize cards, or it could get bad. It doesn't matter if they all do it. It's not optimal. That is unfortunate. Ricardo got the Ultra Ball, but has a Stadium in the hand. Yeah, there we go. There's the Ultra Ball. Another Stadium gone for Ricardo. I think they do play 4, so they still have something to work with. And they don't have to be too scared of getting turn 1 Path to the Peaked from Bruno. I think Bruno plays 2, maybe 3 Path to the Peak. So unlikely to see a turn 1 from Bruno. So Ricardo's hoping to get like 2 turns of abilities here. Or fresh cards, finds the Meloetta, got another Genesect to draw with, can see, ooh, okay, another Genesect. All right, so the board is fully set up for Ricardo. Would love to see a DTE here this turn for Ricardo. A Fusion Strike Energy wouldn't be bad, but you'd prefer the DTE on a Mew. I always talk about this, like DTE on Mew is like what you want. Found the choice belt as well. Hey, there's the DTE. Don't know if you want to leave the Mew in the active. I'm trying to think if like Bruno could do anything to the Mew if it's in the active. I don't think so though, so it's probably fine to leave it in the active. What happened with Cam? We had a Cam switch up. Overhead Cam quit. We now have Cam at the end of table at an angle instead. Looking for that Trinity charge from Bruno. Does have the turn 1 path into the research though. So, oh no. 2 DTE hit the discard pile alongside an Arceus. That could be big, especially if Bruno does not find another Arceus to put energy on here. That is a lot of energy gone. Bruno needs to hit another Arceus V here. Or hope this Arceus does not get KO. But you know what Mew loves doing. Okay, has the quick ball. But setting up that third Arceus could be some trouble here for Bruno, being down 2 DTE. 3 DTE if this Arceus in the active is KO'd. Balls away at water. We could even see Ricardo go out of their way to KO the benched Arceus, because this bench Arceus will probably get 3 water energy to then force Bruno to have another energy for the active here. To be honest, I think I would like to see Ricardo boss KO the bench Arceus, because then if Bruno sets up the active Arceus, will they even have enough water energy left in the deck to like accelerate to another Arceus? It would also be interesting if Ricardo doesn't, it can avoid to not bump the path to the peak, because then there's no V-Star power for Bruno. So if Ricardo cannot bump the path to the peak, plus boss KO the Arceus, well, immediately plays a Stadium, so we don't see that happening. I think they had boss plus VMAX, though. I don't think they had to play that Stadium there. The Oricorio, probably not as useful anymore. And the Roadie Phone. Lines up the VMAX. I said boss KO on the bench. I kind of like it. I kind of like the boss KO on the bench here. I don't know if it's that big of a difference between boss KO on the bench versus the active, but it makes things weird for the and they had the boss as well. So I really don't like this play from Ricardo of they go with the Elsa Sparkle. Don't forget to pick your targets. They had the Elsa Sparkle. They didn't have to. You can put on 2 Genesects here, to be honest. Putting on the Meloetta does make it a target, but you don't really care if you go out of their way to kill the Meloetta. What's on the Genesect over the Mew? I think I like that as well. I think I like that play from Ricardo. But it means the Mew on the bench is so much further away from attacking with double Fusion Strike energy. So to be honest, I actually don't like it, I don't think. Because now that Mew on the bench can't attack with double Fusion Strike energy. So it doesn't go for the boss play. I don't mind not going for the boss play, But I think I don't like playing the stadium. I don't like playing the stadium when you just didn't have to. You could have just like done all this and then held the stadium and attacked, right? Like, I don't think I like that. I don't hate KO in the active instead. Okay, they have a DT for the bench Mew. I guess this maybe makes sense. Yeah, I guess this makes sense if you have the DT already. What I was thinking for like the future Mew, like to be able to attack with it. But if you already have the DT for it, I think this actually makes sense to play it like this from Ricardo. I actually like this. But I don't like playing the stadium still, though, I don't think. I don't think I like playing the stadium. Because now if you get Path, you have one less stadium to work with. Like, you just didn't need to see a bunch this turn, I feel like. See, then we see one Genesect draw and then hit. Like, was it really worth losing a stadium to draw 6 cards with Genesect and then not play a single card? No, right? Because you're almost pretty much doing everything you want to do on that turn anyways. I think Ricardo's down 3 stadiums now. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that play from Ricardo. Also, it would have kept the Path to the Peak in play, which means there'd be no Starbirth from Ricardo. So I think pretty big mistake from Ricardo. And now we're going to see Bruno's favorite, Marnie Path. And now you have one less stadium in your deck to work with. So, would you have drawn this stadium off the Marnie? Probably not. But does Bruno Marnie you if you just hold a 2-card hand and hit as well? Maybe Bruno thinks, all right, well, they have a 2-card hand. They didn't play a stadium last turn. Maybe I won't hit. Oh, that's the 4th stadium? Oh, okay, I thought it was the 3rd stadium. Yeah, so I really don't like that play from Ricardo then if that's their last stadium. I really don't like, because you could get like a Cram-O-Matic, and even if it goes to the bench from a Marnie, but who knows if they're going to Marnie with how you play it. Yeah, I really don't like that play from Ricardo then if that's their last stadium. I thought they had one left. I really don't like that play then. I think it's a pretty big mistake there from Ricardo. Like, you had everything you wanted for the turn, especially once they committed to the Sparkle play over the boss play. If you go for the boss play, I can understand being more aggressive to try and find a Fusion Strike energy out of your deck to set up for the quad Fusion Strike energy play a little bit easier on the next turn. But if you're going to play it like this, I definitely don't like the... Definitely not a fan of that stadium being put into play there. It basically does nothing for the most part, it feels like. Now, Bruno is still pretty low on energy. Bruno is still pretty low on energy, so I don't know if we're going to see a ton of energy coming off the Trinity Nova here. Played Tower, then got one. No, he didn't discard 2 turn 1. With the Ultra Ball, he discarded 1. He discarded a Cram-O-Matic and a Stadium. Played 1. I think Ricardo has 1 Stadium left. I could be wrong. But I think Ricardo has 1 Stadium left. We'll see here. Let's see. Okay. I expect a Path to the Peak. I think Bruno's running 3 Path. I might be wrong with that. I don't think there's any other stadiums. Yeah, Bruno's like playing a really straightforward, consistent list and just makes people work for their wins. I like the list overall here from Bruno. Yeah, Bruno just like literally just like straightforward, consistent Arceus, and it just like makes people work for their wins. It's like, all right, try and KO 3 Arceus that have, you know, 280 to 310 HP. And please don't KO my Vs if you can. Please, thank you. All right, so Ricardo, 4 prize cards left. Bruno, 6. Ricardo did have an escape rope in hand, so should be able to draw another prize card this turn and then maybe look towards that quad Fusion Strike energy play a little bit later on. Oh, has a Fusion Strike energy in hand. Drew into a Cram-O-Matic. Has an Ultra Ball to discard with the Cram-O-Matic. Could actually get the Elsa Sparkle here if there's no Fusion Strike energy pricing. 1-hit KO the active. The other play to look for, though, could be to boss KO the benched Arceus with the go escape rope, boss KO benched Arceus, hold the Fusion Strike energy play for a turn. Maybe he just wants to get a stadium, draw a bunch of cards, and have as many options as possible and then decide what to go with from there. There's the heads. Is there a stadium left? I think there's a stadium left. Chat thinks all the stadiums are gone. What does Ricardo actually have here? Like I said, I don't hate the boss play. I don't hate escape rope plus boss. I don't hate Elsa Sparkle for the 4 Fusion Strike energy. And just take the knockout, though. There's the roast. I told you there was 1 stadium left. I told you. You doubted me. This is what you get. So we should see Fusion Strike energy here either attached to the Genesect that has 2 Fusion Strike energy, which I think I actually like because then that Genesect can actually attack. But maybe you want to split up your Fusion Strike energy a little bit more because then the Meloetta can always hit harder. And they are committing to the Meloetta here. I don't mind that. I think that's probably fine. Making Meloetta an attacker makes the game go longer. They play the tablet, which I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of that tablet being played, though. Because you want to maybe save up for a big tablet turn. So I'm not a huge fan of the tablet. There's a Mew VMAX. If they can just get... They don't even have to... They're not going to even attack with Meloetta this turn. They can just get a Fusion Strike energy. They can retreat to the bench Mew. Maybe that's why they played the tablet, because their goal is to, like, retreat to the bench Mew. Get Elsa Sparkle, retreat to the bench Mew, and then KO. Another Cram. Oh, they have the Elsa Sparkle in hand. Oh my gosh, they have the nuts. Just don't forget about that card over there on the left side. Oh no, they dropped one too many cards? No. No, okay. I thought the judge stopped them for a second. They got the heads. Okay, it's part of their hand. Did they draw one too many cards? Okay, I don't think they did. Okay, good. It's the last Fusion Strike energy in the deck. They have the Sparkle in the hand. They're going for a tablet, though, off this Cramomatic. They played one tablet so far. But to be honest, they should just retreat and attack with the bench Mew VMAX through Meloetta, and they just win the game. They go for another tablet instead, though. Maybe they don't have the fourth Fusion Strike energy. It might be prized. Or is it in the discard pile ever? There's the triple tablet. Dude, they have a Fusion Strike energy over here. Okay, picks the targets. If Ricardo has a Fusion Strike energy here, I'm going to be really disappointed in that tablet take. But it might be prized. It might be prized. Bruh. Oh, bro. Okay. So another mistake from Ricardo. Burned a bunch of tablets. The one play Bruno can make now is like boss KO Meloetta. The one play Bruno can make now is boss KO Meloetta, and then you just can't KO that last Arceus. And then you could still run into trouble. I think Ricardo was in such a good spot it won't matter, but I think keeping the option around of a big tablet play was still relevant. Playing the first tablet was fine. I think playing the triple tablet, maybe Ricardo thinks it's just fine to like burn through all the tablets and swing. I think that might be fine. I'm not completely against this play from Ricardo. I don't love it. I definitely don't like this. I don't like that. Do not send him to No, why are you sending up Meloetta? Okay, so now this is where it can get bad. Ricardo is feeding him the Fusion Strike energy. So now Bruno can knock out Meloetta, Marnie, Path, V-Star, knockout. And now because Ricardo is down, I still think Ricardo will win. No. So here's what's going to happen. Bruno's going to go V-Star, if they have one left, Path, Marnie, knock out Meloetta. Ricardo can't win because they're out of tablets, so they can't want to KO the V-Star. Then Bruno's going to go boss a Genesect, hit it for 180, pass. Then Ricardo's going to go draw pass because they're Path. And then Bruno's going to go boss up the Mew quick shooting or Zigzagoon KO Genesect, and then knock out the Mew VMAX and draw 5 prize cards. But if Ricardo just retreats to the Mew VMAX and attacks with Meloetta through Mew VMAX, they take the knockout with the fresh Mew VMAX, and then to access the Fusion Strike energy, Bruno has to boss. And if Bruno has to boss, then they lose. But if they don't boss, they also lose. So they have to boss, and then you get to keep your hand as Ricardo. And then you also could have kept triple tablet or double tablet and then got the one-hit KO on the next turn. So, we'll see. I don't think Bruno has any stadium left. If he only plays 2 path, then he is out of path. But if he plays 3 path, then he has 1 path left. So there is a route here for Bruno. It looks bad for Bruno, but there is a route. There is a route. But I don't think Bruno has a route if Meloetta stays on the bench and Ricardo doesn't burn the tablets. If Ricardo keeps the tablets around and then doesn't promote Meloetta here and instead promotes the Mew with the DTE after playing 1 tablet, then that Mew knocks out the V-Star, and then Bruno has to boss KO the Meloetta. Or Ricardo just wins. So then you know they're going to a 1 prize hit, and then you can go hit, and you just win. So, all right, it is a Raihan, so Ricardo might still have it in hand, but also this is also maybe fine for Bruno. If Bruno can still maybe do the like Ricardo still can't 1K to KO a V-Star, and now that they're knocking out the Meloetta. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to do the Marnie Path. I guess you do kind of have to do the Marnie Path play this turn. I guess because you're not using Marnie Path, it probably doesn't matter. And Ricardo will probably win because Ricardo will have switches. But definitely a mistake here from Ricardo, nonetheless. Definitely a couple of mistakes here from Ricardo, for sure. Grabs a Charon's Care off the other Josiah. So just trying to get to the Intellions, it looks like, from Bruno. Then we see the Raihan. Okay. So we can get to the V-Star here from Bruno, but just a Mew punching your V-Star here is going to leave you in a pretty bad spot, like almost an unwinnable spot, it feels like. We'll see. I'm curious to see what Bruno can put together from here. We could see a play now where Bruno goes, sheesh. There's a Goon Ping on a Genesect. Okay. The Rose Tower for 1. Bruno can't lose next turn. Played that level ball really fast. Seemed pretty excited about that one. Yeah, Bruno can't lose next turn. We know that for sure. There's no way for Ricardo, now that the Meloetta's in the active, there's no way for Ricardo to actually win the game this turn. It's impossible for Ricardo to win the game this turn. They could have held the tablets, and they actually would have won. If Ricardo had 2 tablets here, Ricardo wins the game, right? Because the other damage MUV comes up with the choice belt. 300 damage with Techno Blast. There's no big charm on the Arceus. Knockout, go from there. But hitting really hard here is still really good for Ricardo. Bruno will then have to go into... I think Bruno's out at this point. Becomes like Charon's Care the Arceus. Pick it up. Hope Ricardo doesn't have boss. And then if they don't have boss, after that they can go evolve. Hopefully get their 4th DTE. Marnie Path, bring it up, hit. Once again, if Ricardo doesn't have boss, then next turn you do like the boss up Genesect. But does that ever work? I feel like that never works anyways, though. It's pretty bad for Bruno here. Still pretty bad. Ricardo did give some openings, though. There were some openings presented to Bruno because of Ricardo's sloppy play, though. Did that card from the Rotom Phone make it to the top of the deck? I feel like it made it to Ricardo's hand. Am I tripping there? I might be tripping there. All right, here comes the Techno Blast. Let's see if Bruno has an out to this. Let's see if they have something they could do. They got the Charon's Care in hand. We know that. Can they even set up like another attacker? That is also true. Yeah, if Ricardo has Boss Horn. Losing a boss here off the quick ball. Okay. I don't know how many boss Bruno has left. I don't think it's a lot. Okay, there was another Arceus. So for Bruno, we're going to have to see the Charon's Care, though, or a Hard Retreat, or a Switch or an Air Balloon, I guess. But we'll probably see the Charon's Care. Big Charm. Okay. Now Ricardo can't KO that Arceus because it has the Big Charm. Finally see a Big Charm here for Bruno because I think Ricardo's out of tablet. There's no way Bruno makes his comeback, though, right? Send up the Zigzagoon, I'm sure. This would be an absurd comeback for Bruno if this happens. I don't see it happening, but it's starting to happen. I'm sure Ricardo has a boss. If they just had a tablet, this game would be over. There's the top deck boss. But now do you go knock out Zigzagoon and hope to boss a Sobble? Or do you boss up the... There's an escape rope. It's going to be Sobble or Drizzile for Bruno. It's definitely got to be one or the other. Never giving up the Arceus here. You give up the Arceus here to get hit. And what do you, Charon's Care again? Maybe. Oh, there's the retreat. So the damaged Mew is in the active now. The damaged Mew is in the active now. Oh, no, but it's an escape rope. You can still retreat. I was like, okay, this actually like lines up for Bruno. But Ricardo can retreat the Mew. Ricardo needs to retreat the Mew. Because otherwise, if Bruno has Marnie Path... okay, switch back. Okay. Whew, for a second, I was getting scared there. I thought he like retreated to it by himself. And I was like, what are you doing? He's good. He's good. We'll get the Meloette. We'll get the Drizzile KO here for Ricardo. Then we're just a boss away. There's a boss in hand. I'm sure there's probably a boss in deck. I don't know if I've seen any boss at the discard pile here for Ricardo. Maybe one. And then for Bruno, it still looks rough for Bruno. Like, it still does look rough for Bruno. An attachment from Ricardo. The DTE to the Genesect. So this Genesect can now attack. Be afraid. Rotom Phone. So I think if we just see a boss here from Ricardo to put on top of the deck, that should be game. Marnie can't stop them, and I'm sure they have some way to switch their Pokemon around in hand. Otherwise, Ricardo probably wouldn't have burned that switch card. So I'm sure there's a boss here on top of the deck. Not that many cards left in the deck anyways for Ricardo. Actually, Ricardo can use Genesect here. So we might just see Ricardo draw cards. Yeah, there's an escape rope and a boss in hand. And if there's a boss on top of the deck, Ricardo should have this one locked up. We should be going to a game 3. Let's see. Another escape rope. Huh. I don't know why we don't want to KO. There's no switch card in the hand for Ricardo now. There's no switch card. Is Ricardo Adams? Did Ricardo overextend their switches? Oh no. Ricardo is down 3 DTE. At least 2 escape ropes and a switch. Ricardo either has 1 switch card left or 0 switch cards left. Thinking about benching. I mean, you may as well bench it at this point. Bosses the Arceus. But then doesn't draw cards with the Genesect. Oh, draws with that. If Ricardo doesn't have a switch card left, we could just see Bruno go bring up a Genesect, pass, and win the game. Here comes a quick ball. This could have been a major mistake here from Ricardo. That was a lot of switch cards burned seemingly for no reason. And Bruno should know there's no way for them to win in the game anymore. So Bruno should actually go for the boss Genesect pass and see if they win the game that way. I think it's actually the correct play here from Bruno to take. I think at this point, there's just like no way to win the game. And Bruno should basically know that. I can't see if there's a switch card left there. Ricardo just could have seen the quick ball happen. So if you get Marnie, dude, I think maybe Ricardo just ended up throwing here. Yeah, they could have used Psychic Leap. They could have used Psychic Leap. Marnie might... No. He has plenty of cards left. He has 6 cards in hand and like 1 or 2 cards left in deck. I think Bruno just goes for the boss. Bruno did discard a boss last turn. Bruno did discard a boss last turn. Maybe Bruno doesn't have a boss left. They used one earlier in the game and they discarded one. I think Bruno only plays 2 boss. There might be a third in there. There might be a pal pad. There's the Shady Dealings. Ricardo also could have Psychic Leaped that Mew back into the deck and done some damage that way. For an Ultra Ball. Okay. There's also not that many cards left in the deck for Ricardo. What if there's just another Charon's Care here for Bruno? Like, what if Bruno just has another Charon's Care, and then that's the last card for Ricardo, and Ricardo just decks out? Instead of just taking the 1 prize knockout into boss KO 1 prizer, and there's the Charon's Care. Is that 1 card left in the deck for Ricardo? Oh no! Did Ricardo actually throw this game? That would be so crazy. How many cards are left in the deck for Ricardo? This one was all... Like, you could not lose this game as Ricardo. Charon's Care? Oh, that's true. They can Psychic Leap. I forgot about that. I forgot about Psychic Leap. I completely forgot about Psychic Leap. Maybe Ricardo forgets about Psychic Leap, though. Maybe Ricardo forgets about Psychic Leap. Attaches to the Inteleon here for Bruno instead of benching the Arceus again. So now Bruno doesn't want to bench the Arceus with the big charm. Interesting. The pass. 2 cards left for Ricardo. What? Bruno has to bench the Arceus there, I feel like. Now for Ricardo, retreat into the Mew. No, should probably retreat to the Genesect. Okay, there we go. Don't leave the Mew up there. It doesn't feel that risky, but probably incorrect. All right, I think Ricardo's got this one still. It felt impossible. There's a switch in the hand. There is a switch in the hand for Ricardo. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. There is a switch in the hand there for Ricardo. I don't know why Bruno didn't bench. I'm confused as to why Bruno didn't bench the Arceus last turn, though, because this... yeah, I'm confused to why Bruno didn't bench the Arceus this turn again. Maybe Bruno's plan is to leave it in the active this turn, which is, I guess, the same thing as just like not benching it last turn. But I think it just made more sense to just bench it last turn, right? Am I wrong on that? Maybe Bruno was thinking, okay, what if Ricardo doesn't attack next turn? Then I want to be able to attack with Inteleon. That's the only thing I could see. Does Bruno have something else? There's the boss. Okay, there's the boss, but we know Ricardo has the switch. We were worried about it initially, but Ricardo played to their outs. They knew they knew what they had left. They knew what they had left. Boss on the Genesect. All right, and then from Ricardo, we'll see the switch boss. He did that because he doesn't know Ricardo prize last tablet. Yeah, but that's not relevant because Ricardo just chose to not dig for a turn when they brought up the Arceus. Like, Ricardo, they know it's prize because when Ricardo bossed the Arceus, they didn't use all their Genesect draws and still had plenty of cards left in deck to draw cards with Genesect. So, that doesn't matter. Like, that's still like it doesn't matter because if they knock out the active and then boss KO next turn, it's the same thing as just boss KO in the Arceus. So you have to play like it's prized. I think you know it's prized and you have to play like it's prized because you still lose because Ricardo has 2 cards left. I guess unless you're thinking about like playing for the boss play on the next turn, I guess. So I guess I'm wrong then, actually. Yeah, because then you can play for the boss play this turn. Yeah, I guess you never went through prize cards anyway, so I guess it does make sense. Because then you don't give them a 2 prize Pokemon to potentially have if they have the tablet. And then it would lead to, okay, then I boss next turn as Bruno. Bruno goes boss next turn. But couldn't I have Bruno use boss last turn? Bruno could have bossed the turn before as well, right? And just chose not to. Maybe Bruno was just trying to give Ricardo one more turn to burn switch cards. I think that's actually what it was. I think Bruno was always playing for that. So you don't put the 2 prize in play, so you don't give him that option to boss. And then you actually give Ricardo one more turn. Even though you could have gone for the boss play last turn as Bruno, you give Ricardo one more turn to misplay. But you also give Ricardo one more turn to draw a prize card, which could lead to Ricardo getting the last switch off the prize card there. So there's that as well. But that seems like the only reason that Bruno would play it the way he did. But then you give Ricardo one more turn to draw a prize card, which could be the switch card, right? So I don't know if I agree with that overall instead of just bossing that turn immediately. Everyone complains about pile shuffling and then goes to okay, Fusion Strike Energy is prior, so Quad Fusion Strike Energy isn't an option. Bruno opens the Dunsparce. Let's see if they get that. They got the Arceus. Do they have the energy? And then do they have a all right, second Arceus or just like a Sobble here? They just don't want to get escape roped. Try and avoid the escape rope. Try and avoid the escape rope here. I pile shuffle to make sure I don't draw my discard pile. That doesn't change that I Am Legend. That's not how it works. That's not how pile shuffling works. Pile shuffling does not randomize your deck more so than just doing 7 riffle shuffles. Like, as long as you understand that, as long as you understand pile shuffling doesn't do anything except waste time, it's fine. But like, that's just not how that's not what pile shuffling does. That's not how it works. That's not how it does. It does not shuffle your deck. The riffle shuffling your deck 7 times is about as truly random as a human being can get a stack of cards. Like, that's about it. You can go 8, sure, whatever, but that's not, like, you just have to understand that's not how that works. Truly the only reason to pile shuffle is counting your cards, but it wastes more time than just doing a single pile to count your cards. Like, it's just like, you just need to understand that. It's just not, literally not how it works. And it's not an opinion. Like, this is not an opinion thing. It's just, that's how it works. That's just literally how randomization works. Should they ban pile shuffling? No, it's not that big of a deal. You just shouldn't do it. All right. Battle VIP pass here for Ricardo. Can't get the turn 1 knockout on the Dunsparce, but could just go for, I mean, you could go for a Psychic Leap on the Dunsparce. I actually think in these situations when it looks like this, I think you should just set up Fusion Strike Energy on your Muse and play for knockouts on following turns. There's the Sparkle, though. Ricardo's going to go all out because, like, a Meloetta KO here on a Dunsparce really isn't worth that much. You can still lead to a victory here, though, in this prize trade, though. Ricardo can go KO Dunsparce. Then Arceus goes KO Meloetta. And then as Ricardo, you can go boss KO Arceus V that the Arceus V sets up. And then you can go boss KO a 1 prizer, and then Arceus KOs your Mew. And then you go big turn of 1-hit KO Arceus at the end of all that. So you can still make it work in this kind of this trade-off, this route. I never understood why you were against. I'm not like truly against. I pile shuffle at the beginning of a match. Just doing pile shuffle in the beginning, in the middle of a match, is just like a waste of time. If you really want to count your deck, then just like doing a 1 pile count down like this. Just 1 pile is faster, and then you just shuffle 5-7 times after that, or 8 times, whatever. Shuffling your decks 8 times after that, and then that's literally as truly random as you're gonna get it. So like, why waste time? I do a pile shuffle at the beginning of the match, but that's like before the timer has started, right? If I show up like a little bit late to a match, like the match is just about to start, I don't pile shuffle to count. I just like shuffle 7 times, we're ready to go. The point to get across is just to understand that it doesn't do what you think it does. That's like the purpose of me saying it's like, if you understand what it does, it changes your perspective on it. So you just have to understand what it does. All right, so Ricardo had a pretty bad start here. No switch. Has 3 Fusion Strike energy in play, which looks good, but we know the 4th Fusion Strike energy is prize, so it's not that good. Ricardo also maybe had the switch, but chose not to do it, and is kind of just chilling as well. We'll see. Attach pass. Oh, that's right. Bruno did whiff the turn 1 energy. So now we see the attached pass from Bruno. So we can have a really big turn here from Ricardo. Let's see what Ricardo has in the hand. I see a DTE. I see... Sheesh. What is that? Tablet. Oh, I thought they were... Okay. Tablet, DTE active, and then draw 1 with Genesect. Looking for that Ultra Ball, I think. There's a Sparkle and a Mew VMAX in the hand, so you want an Ultra Ball here. And I think they got another Sparkle. I can't tell. No, it's double Mew VMAX, I think. I think it's Sparkle, Mew VMAX. Mew... No, no, no. Oh, it might be a boss. If it's a boss, you got a KO on a... No, it is a Sparkle. Oh, no. But this will tell Bruno that you prize the Fusion Strike energy. So I actually don't like playing this as Ricardo. Because by playing this Elsa's Sparkle, I don't know. So you thin out the deck. This also tells Bruno you prize your 4th Fusion Strike energy. But maybe at this point, that's fine. Maybe it's fine to be like, all right, now you know. Cat's out of the bag. But now Bruno doesn't have to boss KO Meloetta and try and remove Fusion Strike energy from play until Ricardo draws a prize card. Also, Ricardo's only threat on board is the Meloetta, so maybe we might just remove the Meloetta from play anyways. But you do tell that to... I guess if you're attacking with Meloetta this turn, it doesn't matter that you play it as well. So if Ricardo's going to commit to attacking with Meloetta, I guess it doesn't matter. But now Ricardo does seem a little bit conflicted on what they want to attack with. But now what are you doing? Are you going to retreat to Mew and pass? Doesn't seem like it does it either. Just a tough spot for Ricardo. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind playing the Sparkle if you're going to retreat to the Mew. This gives Bruno everything they want anyways. Like, yeah, but you don't have a choice if you're going to retreat to it anyways, right? Because now Bruno's just going to knock out the Meloetta. The Fusion Strike energy threat isn't there anymore. You throw a Path to the Peak in play, and the game's probably over here for Ricardo. I think Bruno's going to walk away with this one. An unfortunate opening for Ricardo. And, yeah, I'm sure we're just going to see Bruno stick a Path, and that'll probably be it for this one. It's so hard for Mew to recover when they have these slow starts, especially once there's a Path to the Peak in play. Because if Ricardo had a Stadium, they would have played it, for sure. But now that they don't have a Stadium, for them to they have to top deck Stadium, but then they're also not drawing cards off Genesect because they have 2 Pokemon in play. So you can it really becomes like a what's it called here? A landslide really fast against Mew when they just don't have Pokemon, and then you start taking knockouts and you're removing Pokemon from play. So this one becomes kind of like a landslide. That's what it's going to turn into here in a second. There we go. So research for 7. Here comes the Starbirth. Fully set up now is Bruno. Like I said, Path to the Peak should be making its way into play unless they're both prized. I think there's 1 Path to the Peak prize, but I'm pretty sure they play 2 to 3. It might only be 2 Path, to be honest, from Bruno. Bruno might only play 2 Path. And just either the combination of the too much HP of Arceus or just like those Path Marnie times is just too much for Bruno to deal with sometimes. Or not Bruno, for Mew to deal with. In this case, Ricardo. And there we go. There's the hit. Oh, no Path, though. Maybe Bruno even feels like they don't need to put a Path to the play because there's only 2 Pokemon in play as well. Maybe Bruno's like, I'd rather save my Path to counter your Stadium. Maybe Bruno thinks that Ricardo's holding a Stadium, but there's no way Ricardo can afford to hold a Stadium here. So I'm not a huge fan of this play from Bruno, to be honest. I would have stuck a Path here, I think. Because now if Ricardo top decks Ultra Ball, they can get... If they top deck Ultra Ball or Quick Ball, they can be back into this with a boss KO on that bench Arceus. Hey, or that. They got 4 Pokemon now. But if there's a Path to the Peak, there's no way Ricardo was sitting on a Stadium this whole time. There's no way Ricardo was sitting on a Stadium this whole time. So it looks like the prize card was a Mew or a Genesect into a top deck Mew or Genesect, but the hand still looks like it's pretty rough from Ricardo. Yeah, I don't love that not playing of the Path. I really like the Path from Bruno, because I guess the only place Ricardo could have got it would be off. Ricardo could have pulled it off the prize cards or the top deck, I guess, the Stadium, but Genesect for 1 into an energy, so we can at least see a hit here from Ricardo, but it's into an Arceus that is probably then going to get Sharon's Care next turn. And then we'll see where it goes from there. Here we go, hit. 180, 190. What am I counting here? 210? No, 190. Oh yeah, minus 20 from DT. I was like, where's 190 coming from? Or 290? 190. I was confused as where that was coming from. New Arceus to the bench. Big charm on that Arceus as well. Arceus V started to be active, and now we're just going to start to see some swing in here from Bruno. And like I said, Bruno's probably going to get pretty far ahead at this point. And they're just going to keep cruising. Yeah, Ricardo just wanted to make sure, all right, I'm not going to be able to KO that. Ricardo's trying to be like, yep, I can't do anything about that. All right, 180. Oh, no, 200. I always forget. I would just assume Arceus does 180, but no. Triple water, 200. Doesn't really make a difference to a KO no matter what. And another Sharon's Care in the deck, I think, for Bruno. Yeah, but like I said, I do feel like Bruno did give Ricardo an opening there by not putting Path to the Peak in play. All right, a top deck of an Oricorio. And Ricardo's not out of it yet. They could even Psychic Leap here. Go to the Mew VMAX and run to the new Mew VMAX if they can find another Mew V to bench. So we could see a Psychic Leap play here actually from Ricardo. And then, like, it basically sets up the 2-hit KO a little bit easier. You can kind of go from there. So that's what I'd like to see here from Ricardo, I think, is a Psychic Leap play. Get a little bit of damage on this Arceus. Ideally get a Choice Belt down. Try and get back-to-back Choice Belt hits. Yeah, putting a Stadium in play is probably fine here from Ricardo. You know Bruno's going to probably respond with a Path to the Peak. That should be fine. I think you need to look for a Mew V. You need to go with a Psychic Leap here. You need to get these prizes off the board. Otherwise, Bruno's just kind of a boss away from winning the game. I'm not sure how many boss Bruno plays. There is one down. I think it's 3, though. Now I'm starting to think it's 3. I thought it was 2, and I don't think Bruno plays Palpad. We've seen quite a few games from Bruno and not seen a Palpad yet, I don't think. So I don't think there's a Palpad in the deck. There's at least 2 boss, at least 2 Sharon's Care. I think Bruno is just playing it straightforward and consistent with this list, though. Genesect for 2 here. There's that Ultra Ball. Can thin up the hand a little bit more. Can get that Mew V. Can pull off that Psychic Leap play. Or to use Palpad? Oh, they do play the Palpad? All right, I'm just wrong then. Ultra Ball coming down. Let's see if there's a Mew V to be found. I actually might hold the VMAX there, so you can actually consistently chain VMAXs. I would maybe have held the VMAX there. I don't know what the other options to discard were. I think they held a Battle VIP pass to potentially use that for a Cramomatic, but the question is there a Mew V left to even Psychic Leap with? And does Ricardo see that play as well, or is Ricardo just going to grab another Genesect here? But I think you have to Psychic Leap here. I think Psychic Leap has to be done here. I don't think you can afford to just like hit with this Mew or hit with a fresh Mew. Like, I think you're just going to lose then. If a Genesect hits the board here and you don't Psychic Leap, I think you just lose the game as Ricardo. The Psychic Leap has to happen here. And you can either send up Oricorio or you can send up the Mew VMAX knowing they can't KO Mew VMAX or only giving them 1 prize card. There's the Mew. Now, is it the only... Oh, there's a debate, though. No, goes with the Genesect. Okay, so Ricardo... I don't even know what play Ricardo's looking for here. With only being able to draw 4 cards off this Genesect, what kind of play is Ricardo trying to pull off here? Yeah, could we even ran to the Oricorio? I think that would have been the better play, too. Is you Psychic Leap into the Oricorio. I mean, this means Ricardo's trying to go all out to, like, KO that benched Arceus. But they're only drawing 4 cards off this last Genesect. 3, 4. They got the Choice Belt. They got the Cramomatic. Oh, that's true. They did need to switch to actually be able to Psychic Leap. You are correct. So they wouldn't have actually been able to Psychic Leap. Yeah. You are right. I forgot about that. I was talking up the Psychic Leap, but it would have never been able to happen anyways. Man. So now it was just a bad spot no matter what for Ricardo then. Yeah. I completely forgot about that they need to switch because they did use Technoblast last turn. Did they have another option to attack with last turn? I don't think they did. Yeah, I forgot about Technoblast. Man, it was always looking really bad here for Ricardo then. It was just always looking bad. Well, let's see what Ricardo got. I assume it has to be a DTE then. Yeah, it's a cram heads. Ricardo playing it like a Rotom phone. He's like, I might draw into this later. We'll see. I mean, I think they have the DTE. Oh, choice belted active. What did they know? Did they forget that they can't attack with active? No? Okay, they got the escape rope. What's going to be the sender from Bruno? Just ships a Sobble. Doesn't want to give up 2 prize cards off the Arceus. But you know this Mew's going down next turn then, and then there's just a boss away basically for Bruno to close this one out. Yeah, it gets the reset now off the Technoblast. What to do what? To go to the active and use Max Miracle. Then it gets KO'd response, and then Bruno's just a boss away from being able to close it out. Yeah, you basically had to Psychic Leap here as Ricardo, but wasn't actually an option at that last hand because they need to be able to get to the bench and get to the active. Cramomatic, another Cramomatic coming in. Heads all day for Ricardo. Maybe, is the boss KO on the Arceus on the bench available? I don't think it is, right? I don't think that's an option. I don't think Ricardo's played a supporter yet, but I don't think they've played a tablet either. So I don't think you would actually get the KO there on that Arceus. All these heads, but still nothing great. There's the boss, but I'm pretty sure the knockout can't happen here because of the big charm. They've maybe played a tablet earlier on in this turn, and I just wasn't paying attention. So there is possible that there was a tablet played. We'll see. Tablet in hand. There's no tablet in hand. There's it's Rose Tower boss with all the Genesects used. So it'd have to be... have already been used. Have they used Rose Tower? I don't know if they've used Rose Tower or not, to be honest. The judge says no. So they Rose Tower for 1. Is that the difference maker? They're not playing like they tableted earlier on in the turn. They definitely haven't played a supporter yet. I'm not sure what play Ricardo's looking for, though. I'm not sure what play Ricardo's looking for. They got the boss, but then chose not to play it. Maybe he's trying to thin out the hand before the Rose Tower. There's 2 big charms in play. Pass. Ricardo goes with pass. All right. Does Bruno have a good response to pass? How many bosses Bruno have left? KO on the Mew is obviously great. But if you run out of boss to chase the Genesect, to be honest, that probably doesn't really matter too much. But back-to-back boss here from Bruno will close this one out. Most likely. Arceus to the active. Yo, appreciate the 713 sub there. Trevenine. Shady dealings with the Evolution Incense for the quick shooting. Inteleon. I mean, we could even just see a hit here from Bruno into the active, and then that would probably be fine as well from Bruno, to be honest. Nope, there's the boss, though. Gonna chase the prize cards this turn. Like I said, if there's a boss next turn, it's gonna be pretty much all over. 2 big Arceus. There's a path to the peak, finally. And then a quick shooting onto... debating here. Goes with the Genesect. And that's it. KO. Path to the peak in play. Ricardo does have a stadium to replace the stadium, but I think they're basically all out of plays at this point. I think Ricardo's all out of plays. Has the stadium, can draw cards with Genesect, can draw cards with the Rose Tower, but I don't think there's any plays available to actually make a difference here. Has Quick Ball. That is your last Mew V. I don't think you can afford to get rid of that. Uh-oh. Mistake here from Ricardo. I don't think you can afford to get rid of that Mew V there. If you have any hope, you need that Mew V as a potential for like Psychic Leap, or to even make another Mew V Max maybe after a Psychic Leap into Oricorio. I mean, no matter what, it's not looking good, but I think that was definitely a piece that you wanted to have access to. I believe they have 75 minutes, Michi. 75 minutes for what's it called. Ricardo has 0 energy in deck. Well, then that should be game here. And yeah, there it is. Bruno wins with the Arceus Inteleon. one of like the first decks in the format. It's actually surprising to see. Not surprising. It's cool to see. It's interesting to see Arceus Inteleon win. Like the initial way that people built Arceus was like Arceus Inteleon. That was like the popular way to build a deck. And then all these other kind of builds developed after that. And then Bruno's like, nah, I'll just keep playing Arceus Inteleon. You guys can put your Moltres in. You can put your Zapdos in. Put your baby Moltres in. Put your Moltres V into the deck. Play a 2/2 Arceus. I'm just going to play Arceus Inteleon. No dark Pokemon. No fighting Pokemon. A little bit of Path and Prey sometimes. And a little bit of just like multiple 310 HP Pokemon. With, of course, the consistency factor of... Inteleon. And that's it. Bruno wins. Congratulations to Bruno. Congratulations to Ricardo.